Hello and welcome to Concert Pipeline. That's Jens Schippel.
And that is Steve Jones.
And Jens, today on the program, we have a band called Sandman Sleeps. And this is a fun conversation that I had. I had the chance to interview the whole band, which is Christina Peck, Alex Peck, Christina's sister, Karsten Andersen, and my brother from another mother, Zack Jones.
Oh, hey, look at that. Zack Jones, not from the Sex Pistols, because his name isn't Steve.
Correct. That would be me. So,
right.
Off to a smashing start. Any other Joneses you want to throw out there? That
Indiana? No, that's it.
Okay. We're moving on. So I had a chance to talk to the whole band. It was a lot of fun. They came on. A couple of the guys, actually, Karsten and Zack, had beers in their hands. So I was like, okay, this is what we're doing.
Nice.
Ran downstairs, grabbed a beer, and had a chat with a drink. While
way to get the interview started.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I mean, it was lots of laughs and good times, and we'll get into that in a little bit. But we need to catch up on our week first, Jens. I mean,
we do.
This is how we kind of catch up. So
this is how we catch up. Yeah, I mean, we really don't have much of a social life outside of doing a pod. Life is so busy, it's hard to get together. But I would love to tell you a bunch of stories about how awesome my week was since last time we talked. But I can't think of really a single thing. It's just been mundane crap. Like I could talk about how I've been procrastinating doing laundry, or how I didn't break a glass, doing the dishes, that kind of thing. But it's really, snore fest. I got nothing.
It's really exciting. Well, I'll catch up on some of my stuff then. And that is, so first off, went on a 22-mile bike ride on Saturday with our buddy Joe. And
okay, number one, you left the house. That's pretty impressive.
I left the house and headed over to my buddy Joe's house, dropped off some children to hang there.
Mm-hmm.
And then we took off and went up valley to Yountville and back on our bike. So first practice ride. As you can see here, I have a 12-week plan. That
oh my god, did you create that spreadsheet?
No, Joe found it online, I think. But it's a 12-week.
Yeah. I was gonna say, I didn't think you were that talented with spreadsheets.
I don't do spreadsheets. So
I was gonna be really impressed for a second. I'm like, what? You didn't do that.
Color coded and
right, exactly.
But you'll see that it works up to the word century, which is what we were working on. 100-mile bike ride. So we're kind of jumping off a little bit higher than it starts out, because we could do a 22-mile ride. That's fine. We're going to continue to increase each weekend or week or so that we get to ride together. We're going to make an effort to, most every weekend do a long ride together and increase that up until the race. But this plan has us going up to like 80 miles the 2 weeks before. And I told Joe, I was like, I don't know that we need to hit 80. I think 70 is a good amount, because anything over that is just continue to zone on.
So when you guys rode up to Yountville, was it Silverado Trail, or which route did you take?
Yeah, we went Silverado Trail, and then
that's the prettier one.
Cut over. Yeah, exactly. So so it was mostly flat, a couple small little hills, but and we're going to have to work on hills a little bit. I don't think there's going to be a huge, it's like 5,000 feet incline total, so it's not going to be outrageous, but and
again, this is, you're talking about cumulative.
Yeah. Over the course.
It's not like over the course of the entire thing. It's not like there's one peak where you go up 5,000 feet, right?
I sure hope not. I can't attest to that, but
that would be murder.
As we get closer, we'll probably ride a little bit in Santa Rosa, where the ride is going to be, and just get a little bit lay of the land over there. But first ride out on Saturday, and I did another 12 this afternoon total myself.
You're amazing.
and I did an hour on the Peloton today, 3 different 20-minute rides, and hit my 1200th ride there. So, you know, lots of bike riding for me. So
that's amazing. That's amazing. I mean, there must be so much excitement, you know, around this. I mean, something's got to motivate you to keep on wanting to pedal on, right?
A new challenge is motivating me, and you know, the fact that Joe is doing it with me is motivation as well, because it's good for, like, it's something that he's committed to, and doing for completely, you know, different reasons and what have you, but being able to have someone there to kind of hold myself accountable and to help hold accountable also kind of helps me work towards this thing that I haven't done before, right? So
right. Now, is there anything you guys need to do with your bikes to get them ready for the whole thing?
So I'll share an embarrassing story.
All right.
Okay.
I'm all ears.
So when I get to Joe's, you know, as soon as I got there, I'm pulling my bike out of the car, and he's already in his bike gear and everything, and coming out with the house with his bike, and then I'm like, okay, so need your help with one thing here, and I'm like, so you know, the resistance on my bike isn't heavy enough. Like it's not heavy enough, right? And I'm pedaling too fast and everything. And this is just like, I knew when I said this that this is going to not bode well for me. It's not going to turn out well for me, because I know that it was a moron thing to do. But so
let me guess. The bike was stuck in the same gear.
So it wasn't even that it was stuck. It's just that I was only using the 7 gear, gear shifter on the right, and not the three gear shifter on the left. It's a 21 speed. 7 times 3 equals 21.
User error.
So Joe's, you know, I mean, after chastising me and I owned the stupidity of it as well, as I was figuring this out, and even just saying it out loud, I realized, I was like, okay, well, it's just in the 1 gear over here. It's not in the. I'm like, okay, but I don't know that I had figured this out before, or how long. You know, he's convinced that I had to have at some point have known, because I've used this bike for the triathlons I did and everything. And he's convinced at some point that I had to have known the difference.
You must have. Otherwise, you would have been complaining about that before.
I don't have the same confidence. I'm the type, Jens, and I reminded Joe of this. I'm the type to ride on a flat, if you know, and not even notice it's a flat necessarily, but just push the fuck harder. And that one of the last rides we did, which was several years ago, let's say probably at least 3 years ago, we were riding together a bunch. One of the rides that Sergeant did it ended up being about 22 miles probably up to Yonville and back. And I didn't even realize for a long portion of the ride that I had mostly a flat. My tire was pretty flat. And
that's amazing.
Had to hand pump it up a bunch and keep stopping after we realized it. But I was just pushing, and he was going at a normal speed. I wasn't, and I was keeping up and not complaining. I'm not a bitch, right? But
well, the good news, I see a couple of upsides to these stories. One is you probably burned more calories.
I'm sure I did.
You actually got more exercise than anyone else did. And 2, it wasn't some mechanical thing that you had to pay money for to fix.
Right. Yeah. Just mechanical in my brain that I'm broken and special at certain points. So this is definitely a Steve-ism to say that, but I mean, it was like a whole new world on my bike. I went to change the gear and was able to make it harder to pedal and everything. So
cool.
It was enjoyable.
And the tires are okay? You don't need to change the rubber, or you don't have to go tube or tubeless or whatnot?
They seem okay. I was talking to my dad when I went on a hike with him on Sunday, because another instance of me getting outdoors, and he had recommendations for different tires and inner tubes, like in this thing that goes in between the tire and the inner tube to help prevent blowouts. Because that's one of the things I'm worried about, is having a blowout and having to take 10 minutes or more to change a tire, and hold Joe up during the ride, which I don't want to do.
Right.
So,
right.
So I got to become more comfortable with that, or figure something out on that front, but I don't know. We'll get there.
So do you guys have kits on these events, like, tire repair kits or whatever.
I think we should be bringing an extra inner tube in our, in a pouch on the bike. I did not on the 22-mile bike ride bring an extra inner tube, but I think I have one, and I should be carrying it with me. And I just bought some new bike gear and stuff, and it comes with a new pump for tires that has the PSI, actually, because the one I have doesn't show PSI. I just do it by feel, and
well,
so I'm like,
yeah, that's an upgrade.
Yeah, so I don't know, we'll see. But I'll tell you, so for me, the challenge is endurance and lasting long enough, for I don't know what it will be, between a 6.5, 7 hour ride somewhere in that vicinity, I imagine, and lasting that long, because I do the Peloton and I do these rides every day where I push hard and I leave a pool of sweat on the mat, on that bike, and it's a completely different setting to last this long. And it's the same challenge that I had where I never got to a full marathon during my crazy running days, a handful of years back. I only did half marathons because my feet were on fire by the time I got to the finish line. I can't go slow. And so unless I have a friend to pace me, like when I did the half marathon with Joe, I was like, I can keep going. That was the first time I'd felt that way. Right. Even slowing down an extra couple minute miles, so I don't know. So this is, it's good for me to build that skill. And that's what doing a ride with a buddy is doing. So it's not a race.
So when your feet were on fire, were there any, non-mechanical issues related to that? Like, did you have the right shoes on? Were you wearing flip-flops?
I just did it barefoot, man. I did a half marathon barefoot. Are you not supposed to? Or I have no. I just have nubs left.
Right, it's just a trail of blood.
Yeah, no. I think my shoes are okay, and everything. I was doing like 7-minute miles, which is fairly fast. An hour and a half for 13 miles, and
shredding it.
Should have paced more. It should have built in skills to pace more, so I can build up to. I do kind of have a little bit of a regret that I never got to do a full marathon, but I'm proud of what I accomplished during that period as well.
And you should be. You should be.
Yeah.
All right. So when is the big day?
May 6th.
Ooh.
So you'll be.
That's going to come up faster than anticipated.
About 12 weeks or so, right? So
yeah. So 12 weeks from now, you're going to be like, no way, that was 12 weeks. I'm doing this already.
Oh, I know. There's going to be, it's going to be really quick, right? And there's going to be, like, this weekend, I'm not going to be able to bike ride because I'm going to be in LA, and so we just have to adjust our weekly big bike ride to continue to build up to that. But but it'll be here before I know it, and it's I'm looking forward to it, though.
Cool.
And what else I'm looking forward to, Jens, is bringing in our guest today.
Amazing segue.
Thank you. Again, this is Sandman Sleeps. We had a really great chat, and without further ado, let's bring him on in.
Welcome.
I got it. Oh, hey.
Hey, how's it going, Zack?
It's going good. I'm just waiting for everybody. Just walked in, so we're just. And my dog's going nuts, so we'll be settled here in a second.
All good. What's the dog's name?
That's Thunder.
Thunder?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a great name. I haven't heard a dog named Thunder, so I like it. So.
Dunder, like Dunder Mifflin.
Dunder. I like that as well. So also haven't heard of a dog named Dunder. So both equally good, but Dunder, very timeless. So.
I think we set this one up for. I did it based on height.
Oh, you said. Yeah. Where do you want me to be?
You're the right one.
I like it. Having a beer during the interview. I should go grab a beer. So
grab a beer. Grab a beer.
Grab a beer. I'll be right back. All right.
I gotta go forward. Yeah.
All right.
It's the height thing.
We got all the stools ready. Everybody have their drink of choice.
All right. Yeah.
Yes. There we go. Cheers.
Cheers.
I like it. All right. 1 second. There we go. Okay. First of all, how are you? How are you all doing tonight?
Pretty good.
Yeah.
You guys seem in good spirits. I love it. Like you guys seem like you're jive. Things are rolling, right? So we're doing well. So what is your day entailed? What are things looking like right now for you?
Oh, fuck.
I feel like we're busy.
We're very busy.
Yeah, I feel like we're really busy because we're doing like tonight, for instance. After this interview, we are doing reshoots for the video that we are making for our second single. So yeah, no, we're doing a good job keeping busy. Yeah.
Okay. I was gonna ask you if there's a video in progress. So tell me, first of all, what's the second single, and what's the idea for the video that you guys are pulling together?
The second single is called Fellini, and it's gonna be released.
February something.
Yeah, late February. We have it on our calendar.
Yeah, we have it on our
On the
calendar.
Google
We'll
calendar.
look right now.
I keep it over here. Yeah. February 25th.
There we go.
There we go. Late February. You're right. So,
Yeah.
so what's the idea behind it? Do you have a theme? Do you have a plan? Someone you're working with to make it?
Kinda.
Yeah. So yeah, it's so the song is about or kind of like not about. It's about it's about me like fucking up at a party and being essentially reckless. But it was written 10 years ago, so I was in my early 20s.
Yeah.
But the actual like inspiration was kind of based on like Federico Fellini films and La Dolce Vita. So it's kind of like a party scene. We already have it all filmed. Tonight we're just doing like close-up shots, just reshooting little things. But yeah, we pretty much we organized it ourselves, and our friend Danny, who's gonna come over in a little bit, who helped direct it and shoot. Yeah.
I like it. And so that's kind of the feel I get is a lot of these songs, kind of have been spanned over the last 10 years as you were writing and kind of working up some of these songs in the early iterations of the band. So tell me how that came together for you in terms of pulling this album together, right? How do you choose? Okay, these topics we want to make sure these are included in the album, and do they? You know what? I'll start there because I have a second part to that question, but we'll let you start with that.
So you're asking essentially like how we chose the songs we did, or how they?
Yeah, exactly. How you chose it in terms of the songs that were written, the older songs, I guess, in incorporating them in this album.
Extremely older songs that you guys wrote.
I think, well, my sister has written tons of songs throughout the years. Some of them, like, we wrote together, like, 10 years ago.
Like Fellini we did.
Yeah, like Genie, and then, like, I don't know. I guess the other two aren't on the album. But she has also, like, when her and I started playing together again a few years ago, kind of started reintroducing, like, other songs that she had written alone or, like, with her previous band, and we would kind of start from there to see what would click with the style that we had going on, because there were like so many options.
Yeah.
But then like I would just hear something and be like, oh yeah, let's do this one.
Yeah.
And mess around with it, see what we can make from it, and then introduce it to the band and see how everybody feels on it and kind of go from there.
Yeah. No, that's exactly that.
I think
you said that really well. Yeah.
Kind of like,
yeah, it was kind of like see what you like. Start from there, me and you get it, and then see if you guys like it. And then it's a win if everybody likes it. So
we have a lot of options.
Yeah,
so.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff.
A lot of options. Okay, and so Karsten and Zack, tell me about joining Sandman Sleeps, like, because you're obviously more recent additions to the band, and insofar as early 2020 is kind of when you joined, right?
Yeah, it was. I think it was March 2020. I had seen the girls play at an open mic night that I was hosting, and I I heard one of the songs that's already up on Spotify called Spectre, and I kind of like did one of those jaw-dropping like, yeah, this is awesome stuff. So I played on that single, and I kept saying I wanted to be in the band.
Yeah, he said that he played the drums because we needed a drummer.
Oh yeah. I figured, I kind of played the drums a little bit, so they came over to my place one night, and I tried my best to play the drums because, and it was really fucking bad. It was not.
It was like worse than what you usually play.
Yeah. On the drums. There's like a million things that I could do better than the drums. For some reason, I decided I would shoot for the drums. Was not a good move. But luckily, I have my guitar stuff right there. So I picked up the guitar, and things kind of clicked there. And then I called you like a couple weeks later. Yeah. I called Karsten, and I was like, yo, we've known each other for a long time. So he was like, okay. And we went and tried it out.
You just went with it.
Like, okay. I was like, in between bands. Yeah. Wasn't really doing anything. And then, like, you told me out of the blue. You're like, hey, man, like, you got some free time? I'm like, yeah, I'm not doing anything. And he's like, well, these two chicks, they're like, they're really good. And they want to like form a band. And then he showed me some music. I'm like, all right, I'm in. Let's do it. So
then we tried out, and then we didn't get a call back for a couple of months.
Oh man, was the competition fierce? Was there a lot of like interest?
No, me and Karsten were the best. We just
No, it's like clicked the best. It definitely clicked the best. We were just already playing with two other people, and we had like all these gigs lined up with them, which we weren't even sure about. So Alex and I just didn't know what to do. Yeah. We were like, do we cancel those gigs, or how do we? I don't know. We just didn't know what to do. So that's why I didn't get a call back.
Can I just say as well that March of 2020 is the weirdest time to join a band.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't know what you were doing then, but things were pretty crazy for on my side of the country, you know. So
I think it worked out really good for us because like we couldn't do anything but just practice, or learn the song. So it was a cool thing for us to do in quarantine. Is just to practice and get better, and learn the songs better and get to know each other better, basically. So it worked out.
And get overly attached to each other.
Yeah.
It's very nice to see another person. We're so excited about this.
Yeah. Like, it's a real person. Granted, I'm two-dimensional, but I am real. I have to convince you. So it's good. All right. So Christina and Alex, you two grew up on music. I want to talk about your parents and kind of their influence on you a little bit. Your mom was in a band, so that was kind of a natural feeling for you to, you're like, this is something that's going to happen from when you were a young child, right?
Yeah, they were both in bands. Our dad ended up being a booking agent and met our mom, but he booked their bands in the 80s. So that's kind of, they both are, musicians and music lovers. So we were very fortunate because we grew up around a lot of instruments. And our dad loved having, both of them, they loved having like a practice space and, just like, it was kind of easy. Like we played a lot of video games, but also we had this whole like room to play. Try different instruments. Yeah. I don't know. So we were very lucky with that.
And so piano was the first instrument for both of you, right? I mean, and that's what I hear for a lot of bands is like kind of where they start on instruments a lot. Was that natural? Were you interested in it, or were you like, okay, I got to move on from piano and onto something else?
I started taking piano lessons when I was like 5 or so. I can't say I actually enjoyed it until I stopped taking piano lessons at like 12. and then I kind of felt like I could enjoy playing the piano. And then when I was like 13, picked up the bass. First I tried guitar, but it wasn't clicking with me. I don't know. And then I tried the bass. I'm like, oh, I really like this. So, I don't know, but I'll always love piano. does come very natural to me. I don't know if it's because I started it so young.
You wrote a bunch of songs on the piano.
I still can't read music.
Really? You just taught yourself?
I mean, I took for bass. Yes, I taught myself that. But
you can read music for piano.
I don't know if I did.
You took 6 years of lessons.
I took like 8 years of Spanish, and I don't remember any of it. So I don't know what happened.
Well, I think Alex, her ear is so good. She used to memorize. I remember that. The teacher would get so pissed at you because you'd memorize that shit.
Yeah, I'd make my teacher play the song first, so I wouldn't have to read the music.
Makes it easier. And so did your parents tour when you were a kid still? Did you go out to live shows if they were doing it all, or they were pretty much done?
Yeah, they weren't performing, but we got to go to a lot of live shows.
Yeah.
Since our dad was a booking agent, so we did.
What sort of shows did you go to? Anything, that was memorable that you're like, this is what I want to play live?
Okay, I remember the first time it's funny because I don't think it was anybody who booked. It was a live show in some bar. I think somewhere in Florida. I have no idea where this was, but it was something Mom and Dad took me out to. I don't know if you were there, but I remember for live music, what was more exciting was like smaller venues. So the stuff that our dad would book was more like national act shit. So it's like bigger stage and everything, which was very cool too. Of course, it was really cool. But I think what struck me most with live music was being close to it. So because you can, just like seeing that and feeling that physically too. So I remember I really enjoyed whatever smaller shows there were. Yeah. I don't know about you.
Yeah.
You remember any?
Yeah. And any of the big shows that your dad booked that you enjoyed? Like what national acts was he booking?
He did Fog Hat.
Yeah.
Nice.
We did jam with Roger Earl.
Yeah, that was
we did.
Really? That's nice.
Jefferson Starship.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't.
Who's the other guy?
Keyboardist was very nice. I forgot his name, but he was very nice.
Edgar Winter,
but we don't know that either. Yeah, and people know Edgar. A lot of stuff that.
I think I have Edgar.
Egg-Mater?
I think I have that. I think that's in my vinyl collection.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't know why.
I don't know. Like a lot of, I feel like older stuff. So it wasn't like that. I don't know. I feel like for me, it wasn't like that interesting going to those shows because there were a lot of older acts. But I mean, now honestly, I feel like I could appreciate it more than I did when I was younger.
That's what I was thinking too. I feel like we would have appreciated it more now. Like we liked it back then, but it didn't like stand out quite as much to us, But we saw Ringo Starr play. That was on that, and Mickey Thomas.
I remember.
Yeah, but yeah, and Dave Mason at the Lyric Theater. But I just remember there was this one lady saying "Love You, Dave" really loud the whole time, so I didn't really pay attention to the show. But no, I don't know. That's about it, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah. And Karsten, how about you? I mean, what music were you into as a kid? Did you have any influence from your parents as well?
Oh yeah, my parents were like a huge influence. They all of us, my sister and brother, they made us pick out instruments when we were growing up, and so I chose drums because I had a older cousin that played metal, so I thought that was the coolest thing ever. And then me, my brother, and my cousin, we started a death metal band when we were in high school, and actually went on tour and stuff. So I started off playing death metal.
So I heard you went on tour with a Mexican death metal band for about 3 months. They were drug traffickers.
Yeah,
so tell me the story. What's going on here? Break it down, and how did you survive?
So it was crazy. We got in contact with this Mexican death metal band, Scarabaeus, and they had this old 1960s tour bus that was like a piece of shit. And so they come rolling in the Fort Pierce, and my parents are just like, who the fuck are these guys? And they split blood and stuff, and they're like, all right, see you later, Mom and Dad. We're going on tour with these guys for 2 months, you know? And like, like still to this day, like, and like I talked to my parents about it. They're like, I don't know why we let you guys do that. Only 16. My brother was 3 years older than me, you know. So like it was this crazy thing. They didn't know we were going into Mexico to play shows either. Yeah, it was really wild, and just to think about it, it's pretty crazy. And I actually like shared a picture of the band and like a video of that era, and it like blew your guys' minds. I don't know. And like, as I was watching my drumming back, I'm like, man, I think I'm a better drummer back then than I am now. You know?
And so the FBI raided the house that you were in or something? Like,
okay, yeah. So because we were children and we didn't have passports, we were supposed to go like all the way into Mexico, like Monterrey and stuff. And so you get past a certain checkpoint. This is like right around like 9/11 and stuff. So like, all right, no, you guys can't come down here. So we went back to the other band's house, which turned out to be like a drug den basically. And we didn't know. Like we just didn't know like how we knew they were always smoking pot all the time. But apparently this guy who drove the bus, who's also like the lead singer of the band, he used to just traffic drugs across the border. Like that was his job. Like he was a semi driver. And so the shows in Mexico got canceled, and so we're stuck at his house, which is like fine, you know. But then like 2 weeks later, after we leave, they get raided by the FBI. So like I could have been there like 16-year-old Karsten, like what's going on? You know, it was it's so crazy like to think about.
Also, by the way, we're in witness protection now, so you can't show us the interview anyway.
And they didn't have you smuggle anything in your ass across the border or anything,
no,
right?
No, they shove anything in my ass. No, not that I know of. No, but it was just to think that like we were supposed to go. Okay, so this is what happened with that tour. We get to like California. We're gonna go to we get to Washington State, and then the other band's like their fucking silly old ass tour bus like breaks down, and they have like a squabble as a band, so they drop off the tour. And there was I think I'm saying too much right now because like there was it's a long story, but like there was I'll say this, there was a bass player that was playing with them, and they left them in Oregon. So whatever left means, I don't know. This is gonna be a episode probably. I don't know.
Yeah. So the moral of the story, I think, is that you should do a background check on the bands that you're joining. Yeah. And Zack, no drug trafficking in bands that you've been in before?
No, I just played in a couple of mathcore bands, and I worked at a pork shop. That's all I've got. Like nothing outside of that, really.
Well, that's not as exciting. I'm sorry.
It's not.
No. Well, good stuff. And so Christina and Alex, you grew up in Tennessee?
We actually grew up in like Jupiter area, Palm Beach Gardens, and then in 2008 we moved to Tennessee. Well, Alex was actually born in Tennessee. It's really it is confusing.
We were back and forth a little bit.
We were in Tennessee, and then Florida, like is where we like grew up.
Yeah.
And then moved back to Tennessee when I was starting high school and she was starting college.
Yeah.
And then back to Florida, and then New York City, and then Georgia, and back to Florida.
What are the differences in kind of the musicality of the areas that you lived in? I mean, I imagine there's more of a country feel in Tennessee. From your experience, was that an influence for you in any way, or did you just kind of stray away from that?
Yeah, no, I love a lot of country music or like folk music. Especially like not like the not to hate on like the pop country stuff. I don't listen to that. Like more so like I don't know, just like maybe like I guess it's like older. I'd say primarily like huge influence on me, and just a lot of the musicians that I met in Nashville and in Georgia, really, too. In Nashville, I played in a band called Dr. Eats Me and the Cannibal Kid.
What? That's
Yeah.
a band name.
I know, right?
Yeah. Why didn't we name our band that?
Yeah.
It's taken, okay? So tell me about that band.
It was really fun. We were all really into Wilco, which doesn't have really much to do with country, but we all did have our we had our different influences. There was somebody in the band who was strictly a country singer who played like a country type guitar with what I don't know. Like I guess like I wrote a lot of the songs, and then we also wrote songs as a band, and then we had another. We kind of all collaborated. It was a lot of fun. We all just really loved Wilco. Remember that? And Grizzly Bear at the time. And among other things. But then I was like 19 then, and then really when I was in Georgia, I lived in Rome, Georgia for 3 years, and played in a band called Tina and the Goose, and that's when I really got more kind of like dove into like, I don't know, her like Vic Chestnut, and like I don't know, just like a lot of like songwriters that I'd say were out of like I don't know, like Athens and like, or I don't know, Northwest Georgia, that area and stuff. Kristen Hirsch and of course REM. I don't know. I guess it's still I don't know, like southern alt rock stuff, but no, I don't know. That definitely had a huge influence though on my song writing for sure. I was always attracted to like I guess just like more folk in the country, like singer songwriter stuff, but at the same time, I don't know. I can't find the words. It's just like fine. I like that there's like a traditional structure to things that I think is interesting, like Gillian Welch and like Johnny Cash, you know what I mean? But at the same time, to make it weird, like which I think they do, and make it your own is always really fun, you know, to take something that feels more traditional and make it more abstract, which so many artists do that back, and you know, it doesn't have to be country, but just like something formulaic that you make your own. I don't know. But I learned that from country music, I think. So. From where we live.
And so tell me about the process of finding your voice, both physically, but also in terms of the songs that you write. How have you worked through that process? Have you always enjoyed writing? And tell me about, you know, in terms of the singing part as well. How did you get comfortable there?
I think singing was always the most comfortable for me. It took me probably until we started playing together again in 2019 that I really felt like I knew how I wanted to sing, because I always sang and felt like, oh, I can sing, but at the same time, it's like I know how to sing. I just didn't know how it's almost like okay, so you know you can draw, but what style are you? Like, how do you want to do it? How do you want to form words, or, you know, how do you want to sound? You know what I mean? That's a whole other thing. And I was always really like, I always admired, you know, singers that did have, you know, like their own way of like saying or pronouncing things. And I don't know. Yeah, so I don't know. I think playing with Alex kind of started that, because it felt like we were going like so bare bones, just doing bass and guitar and vocals, that it kind of became a little bit more of this raw thing that I didn't have to sugarcoat. So I wasn't trying to sound a certain way, and I would say it was a little bit more, I know it's not punk rock, but for whatever I was doing before, it felt more punk rock, whatever we were doing. Whatever that means.
Yeah. And so you decided to kind of reform the band back in 2019 and get an open mic, right? Tell me kind of how that decision came about to bring it back.
You want to talk about that? That's a fun night.
Hit it.
We were down in West Palm, and we just went
not a guitar.
Okay, so it was a possibility.
Yeah, we weren't sure though.
That you were going to play.
Yeah.
And I remember you somehow convinced me to go up there, and I think because they had a bass there that I could play. I didn't bring my bass.
Yeah.
But there was one like on the house that we could use, and she convinced me to go up there and play with her, and it was funny because I had like these long fake ass nails on it. And I was like, I don't know if I can play bass with these. I don't know if it's gonna be hard. So that was like the only thing right in my head. But we went up there and we played. Did we have a drummer there too playing?
Tom did.
Really?
That was the first time. Well, because Tom told us about it. Yeah. And then so he sat in with us.
Yeah, there was like us and a drummer played along with us, and it was just really cool. That was like my first time ever being like on a stage.
It was a cool stage.
Yeah. And I don't know, it was a really cool experience, and like made a lot of connections like immediately after that. It was nice. It was just there was a lot of people there that were within the music scene in West Palm. So it was a really great first like I feel like.
Yeah. And not too far after that, you played with Further Seems Forever. How did that come about? Did you know them, or what was that show like?
We did not know them. One of the guy that booked that venue, he had seen us play at another venue in West Palm, and he asked us to play. He wanted to put us on that show with Further Seems Forever, and I think Darling Fire was. We were like, hell yeah, that's an awesome opportunity. So, it was a really cool place. Like we would always go there. Yeah. Cool spot in West Palm. It was I don't know. It was really cool seeing them perform also, but I haven't heard of them in a long time. So
I saw them like 20 years ago or something, like in this small little place in San Francisco, and it's just, still around. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah. It was fun. It was fun. It was random. It was pretty random.
It was very random. Yeah, and we weren't particularly ready for it. But
yeah.
No.
We didn't have.
Yeah, it wasn't with these guys.
Yeah. So definitely. Yeah.
Wow. It would have been a lot better. It would have been a lot better.
Yeah. And so 2020 hits, obviously, COVID, all that. When in the process, Christina, I understand you had a battle with COVID that kind of got you in a weird spot. What was that like for you? And I know you paid a lot of visits to the beach during that time frame, right?
Yeah. So we actually I guess I got COVID first, and then I gave it to Alex.
How very generous.
Yeah.
Just share everything.
But yeah. Anyways, about COVID.
You're at the beach a lot.
Yeah. I was okay. So yeah, I was actually staying with Tom, the guy who we mentioned earlier, because between all of us, I believe he gave me COVID. He says we don't know that. I think he did.
Probably not.
But no, you know who did was Sweet Butter Joe.
Sweet Butter
Sweet Butter
Joe.
Joe gave that whole house COVID, and then
Sweet Butter COVID.
Yeah.
Sweet Butter COVID.
Spraying the saxophone on everybody. That can't leave this room either.
Well, it's already done.
No, it's our little secret, right?
Yeah, no.
We got Sweet Butter Joe on the line right
now. So Sweet Butter Joe gave you Sweet Butter COVID.
Yeah. Tom, we were quarantined together because everybody was sick in that house. So and nobody was like really, really bad. It was just really weirdest thing I've ever had in my life. I was sick for a month. But no, I just remember for me it was really like it was not a. I had a fever just for a couple of days, but I just really had no energy at all. So I remember I would get up and walk to the living room, try to taste coffee, which I couldn't taste, which sucked. It was the worst part. Not being able to taste was the coffee thing. but then I look out the window and I just, I don't know. I mean, I guess like that's what I guess I do love about living here, being by the water. I like the light that happens. So I was just, it was comforting just to look at the ocean.
Yeah, you live pretty close to the beach?
Well, Tom lives right on the Indian River. So it's intercoastal here. So just like pretty much just depressing to stare out the window all day. But it was actually pretty nice, really. It was for a type of like having COVID, just being we were really worried because it was very strange. This was June 2020, and it was really, really weird. Bunch of strange, like I don't know. It was for me, it was very neurological. Like I felt like tingling limbs and shooting pains and that type of thing. So it wasn't like I could breathe okay, I think. Like I remember that. I was worried about it, but I could breathe fine. It was just all the weird stuff. Then Tom got that too. You didn't as much though.
Not as bad for you.
Yeah, I got like all like the flu type symptoms and stuff. It's really weird. I had like a flu the year before that, and it was like horrible. So I feel like for some reason COVID didn't hit me even as bad as that hit me. It just kind of kept me in bed for like a week, I feel like. And then, I don't know. It wasn't like too horrible for me. Like I feel like you got it a lot worse than I did. Like I had a fever and stuff.
Yeah. I felt like that whole I was worried about having like that chronic fatigue syndrome after it, but it went away. I got energy back. No, that's when I wrote Portrait of Genie. Essentially, was during that.
Oh, okay. Okay.
That we just released. So, and then showed that to the band, and like I wasn't even sure how much I liked it, and then once we all played it together, it was like, wow, this is awesome.
Yeah. So I'm not familiar with the movie, but it's based on I know it was from 1948, Portrait of Genie. Tell me a little bit about that and how you decided to make a song from that.
Well, it was kind of like that was the underlying theme of it, was kind of based off of the movie, because I was really interested in this whole concept of time overlapping, and that's really what it was. I like the movie, but it's not that it was like a great movie or anything. It was just, did you watch it?
I did. I watched almost the whole thing.
Well, the music sucks on it.
Music. Well, they should have used our music.
So I feel like if you're
time overlapping, I feel like
You can go back and put it in, exactly, right?
No, I just thought it was interesting of this whole thing of two different planes, like of existence and time, like being there at the same time, but then these two people who meet and then kind of like are always really unable to be together because the girl and it's actually already dead, and so it's just interesting.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah, sorry.
Oh man, like a 50-year-old spoiler.
I feel like Christopher Nolan's remake that will hopefully happen one day is going to be really good.
Right?
Yeah, that should be great.
Kind of like that whole Ghost and Mrs. Mirror thing too. That's another old one that's really good. Oh, wow. That's actually really good. Rex Harrison's in that.
Yeah. It's lost on me. So. So the album is Crisis Actor, and James Paul Wisner produced it. Tell me about working with James and what he was able to pull out of you to make this album.
I love talking about him.
Yes.
Go over it.
So we're essentially, when we first started recording, we were going to go all to one place for everything. But I had worked with James in my previous band, and I just really like kind of directs things in a sense, and I like how he mixes, and you can kind of give him what you're looking for, and he can find it in what you're putting out. We unfortunately, because of COVID, and he's not really recording live bands right now. He's doing more mixing, so we couldn't record with him, but we did end up getting to do everything at Thunder House here. And then James got everything that we did here in town, and I don't know. It was I just always appreciated how he mixes and how much knowledge he has with so many different genres, and how he can kind of pull things together with what he's got. I mean, we could have handed him something like a billion times worse, and I'm sure it would have came out still really amazing. He's just got like a knack for mixing. And then Andy Van Diet really added the oomph that I think we were looking for on mastering. So I've worked with him before as well. That's who James always suggests we go to. And Andy's did a lot of stuff with like Rush and Metallica and Metric and some other really good notable bands. So
yeah,
get everything mastered with him, and he's working with us really closely. Well, mostly Alex is taking care of all the vinyl stuff, but we're stoked to get it on vinyl and just hear like how that's going to come out, because that's a whole different sound in itself. So
totally. And I mean, did Andy share any stories in the time that you worked with him, like of working with Rush or Metallica or anything?
No, it was another one of those long distance things. I've met him one time with the last EP that I worked on with my old bands up in New York City. Came out to one of our shows, but Andy, he's just kind of like gets the job done and doesn't talk much. So
yeah.
He's a funny guy. He's a great guy, but yeah, we sent him what we had, and a couple weeks later we had this really good master and 2 different versions of it, and I'm like, this is great. So
yeah,
kind of exactly what we were looking for.
Yeah. And so you guys have been playing live shows in breweries and bars and that sort of thing. Tell me about what the dynamic has been like on stage. How has it felt to play in front of audiences? Concerts still feel a little weird, especially like, I mean, here on the West Coast, it's a little bit different, I think, probably. But I don't know. I'll tell you, before I let you answer, I'll just interject myself and say that that like before COVID, like I used to go to a concert every week. And I think I went to 3 concerts last year, which was amazing to get out to live shows again. It was great, but it still feels weird. And it feels like you have to be intentional to go out to a show, at least for me. So, but what's it like to play?
Refreshing.
Yeah, I bet.
It feels good that we're able to do that here in the state that we live in. We know that like it's really strict elsewhere, but it's been crazy in Florida. It's nice to get on stage. I think it's taken us some time to adapt to live shows because we spent so much time in a hole where we couldn't do anything. We couldn't have friends over. We couldn't throw parties to even have anybody come see our band. And then there was a couple instances where we had to cancel due to COVID.
Yeah, that's definitely happened.
I think the first show that we booked, we canceled because you guys got COVID.
Yeah.
And, obviously we don't want to show up and give that to anybody. So, and then, anytime there's a spike in cases, usually the promoters here that we've worked with have been really good about doing the right thing and just canceling it. And rescheduling for a later time. You don't want to go out and put people at risk and all that bad stuff. So I think it's been hard for us to get the dynamic live on stage because every venue is different, every sound system's different, and that's something that takes the band a really long time to get. And we've had now almost 2 years to where we haven't been on live stage, where if this was any other time, we would have been on stage way more and been able to get used to being on stage. I think our vibe is still good. Like we still go in with a positive attitude, and but yeah, it's hard to the live thing's a whole different chemistry, and I feel like we're just now starting to nail it. Like the last couple shows we played have been just so like, oh, we did it and it was great, and people loved it, and we weren't so like nervous. So that's good.
Yeah, and as we get into spring and summer, I'm sure, I mean, be able to do more outdoor shows, which loosen things up and stuff, right? So, yeah. Do you see yourselves touring outside of Florida as we get into the summer, summer months and the albums out and everything? Do you see yourself being able to do that?
Yeah,
I'd like to.
Yeah, we love to. It's just really hard to predict anything at this point or really plan anything out. I mean, there's been so many times where we've wanted to plan going out of the state, I feel like, or we're just trying to communicate, but everything gets canceled so often now, more than I've ever experienced in playing shows. So it's more of a waiting game and just taking what we can get and enjoying the moments that we were given to play our music in front of people. That's all we can do. We're opening for Annie Hart next 2 weeks from now. February 12th.
Yeah.
Nice.
So that's a big show, but like with every single show that we have coming up, it's always in the back of your mind, like this could it could probably get canceled the day before, and that's like even in a regular world, that's such a letdown. In this one, I feel like it hurts even more because you're anticipating it so much more, and you want those moments on stage to share everything that you've worked hard.
I think in a way though too, I feel like we're getting kind of accustomed to. If it gets canceled, it's canceled. Yeah. It's kind of like.
Maybe it gave us thicker skin.
Yeah, well, I think and at the same time, it's like you said, like when the spikes happen or whenever, because like I know like we live in a different world down here. It's a different world.
Or in the swamp.
So I feel like what you're describing, like being able to go out and you feel weird, because like it does feel really weird, and it still does too sometimes. It depends on the situation. If something's really packed, it does. But it's like that feeling happened for us, I'd say a year ago, when you step out and it's like,
holy crap.
Whoa, this feels wrong. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I feel like, and then at the same time, if you have friends, in New York and other places where it's like, what's happening now? But it's like a different time of the way things have been managed and everything. So it's pretty weird. And it's interesting to think what it would have been like if we weren't living here during this,
Yeah.
Me and Alex got to catch like a Slipknot show, like I don't know how long, was it like 3 or 4 months ago or something? And then we like looked back and like it was packed, and like to like turn around and see that many. That's the first time I've seen that many people since this whole thing happened. I used to go to the amphitheater down in Palm Beach all the time for shows, and like to turn around and see that. It was like it wasn't like towards the end of the show that I was like, holy shit, that's a lot of people.
Yeah.
Like it's still a weird feeling. That was my like holy crap moment.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean. I mean, I went to a festival here in Napa, California last summer, right? I mean, and it was Guns N' Roses, Foo Fighters, that sort of thing. And yeah, it was amazing. And but whereas that would have been normal before, you're there in a crowd, and even if you have a mask on, you're still like, is this okay? I don't know, but I'm not missing Foo Fighters when they're 3 miles from my house. and hearing Axl, even though his voice is shot, singing "Welcome to the Jungle" and playing "November Rain" and everything. You're not gonna.
Wasn't Vince
Neil. No. It was pretty bad. I mean, I'll tell you, but Guns N' Roses brought out Dave Grohl, to play on Paradise City at the end, and and that was incredible. So, so So it was really cool. So as we wind down, first off, what are you guys binging right now? I'm sure there's lots of time for for TV.
Oh, for TV?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I don't know if we binge too much TV.
No?
No.
No new Ozark or anything?
I have a 14-month-old daughter, and I've been watching Storybot. Just amazing.
Okay.
Really good. It's really good on Netflix. It's like the songs are actually like, I enjoy the songs. So
yeah.
Anyone with a kid out there, Storybot, do it.
I think my son may have tried an episode of that, and I don't think he latched onto it. But he's a little bit older. He's 8 years old, and my daughter's 11, so she's definitely not. but yeah, I feel you. And then to close out, favorite concert of all time that you've been to?
Jesus Christ.
I know the hard-hitting questions come at the end, right?
Can we go back to TV some?
Sure. If you have more TV you want to hit.
Well, everybody's collecting their thoughts. I'm waiting for the next Walking Dead, but that's really the only show that you can't really binge it. Yeah. But
yeah.
I wanted to say publicly that I really enjoyed that show.
You're the one left, huh?
Yeah.
I stopped before Carl left, I'll tell you that. So
yeah, no, there's not too many of us fans left in that world.
Yeah.
But I want to know what
I
happens.
read a lot of the comics though too, also, and those are really great. So
all right. I'd say a favorite concert of all time. I got to see Rush in 2004.
Nice. Okay. Yes. I think I may have had tickets to that tour, and I wasn't able to go. I had to work or something. So yeah, that might have been one of their last.
Well, yeah, it was like the tour before the last tour.
Okay.
I got to see him. Only saw him once, but like Rush is one of my favorite bands. So.
Oh, that's awesome.
Drummer, so of course I'm a Rush nerd. So.
Of course. Yeah. Anybody else have?
Who's next?
Alex.
All right. Well, I'm gonna say a couple. I would say the most inspiring would probably be the Slipknot show that we just went to.
Nice.
That was pretty awesome. Most fun I've ever had was at a Insane Clown Posse concert in New York City at Webster Hall, like 5 years ago, maybe. I've seen them multiple times, but it was just, I don't know, this one particular time was like fucking awesome. And, yeah, it was great. So it's an experience seeing them perform. So
I've never seen them live, so I can't comment. But
fucking nuts.
sounds cool. Got two more.
Yeah, I'm gonna let you want to go last?
No, I don't care.
I got a couple.
I have a couple too. So.
Okay. Definitely the Slipknot show. That was wild. We were like in the third row, so that was like we got to really see everything.
Yeah.
That was awesome. A couple weeks before that, I went to go see Kiss with my dad, and that was just a good experience. They did cancel, and we were like left in the rain. Well, we weren't left in the rain, but a lot of people were left in the rain.
Yeah.
I got to drink with my dad a lot that night. That was fun. So,
that's cool.
It's not really a concert.
Yeah.
No, we didn't see him at all.
No, you didn't even see him.
No, we didn't even see him. They came out in full makeup and said sorry. And we're still, yeah.
Really?
It's still the most hungover I've ever been after a concert, and nobody played.
Oh my gosh. That sucks.
The other one was Cursive, the Halloween before COVID.
Okay.
They played at the Social up in Orlando. No, it was like 2018. I think it was. It was like 2 Halloweens before COVID. I like how everything is like.
In COVID terms.
Yeah, it's like BC has like a whole new meaning. Like,
it does.
2018 BC. But
yes.
they just that's like one of my all-time favorite bands, Cursive. So like they came out and like that was like supposed to be the Halloween night for everything. So they came out in like full costume, and it was like such a cool show to be at. It was awesome. It was really spooky. They just came out with a new record that had some like spooky sounds to it. I don't know if I can ever get that one back. I've seen them like 15 times, and that was like the best one.
That's really cool. Very cool. I like it. And Christina, last but not least.
I really like seeing Ween. I forgot the name of the place. It was in St. Augustine in 2000. I think it was 17. And this was before I knew I liked Ween. And then I saw them, and then I loved Ween. Like I already loved, like I loved like some of their songs for sure, but after that I was like, wow, this is the live performance was really amazing, and also Radiohead in Atlanta.
Oh,
Yeah,
No, I do. No.
No, really.
No, she's right. With me, she's 100% right. I just don't like them. I hang out with them, but I don't.
Yeah,
I like rhythm hits, but I never want to listen to them.
Yeah.
Never in the mood. It's like too much.
Yeah. No.
Also, though, I have
I
to
gotta
say,
be really fucked up for that.
of Montreal.
Oh, I saw them.
At Mercy Lounge, I will never forget that performance.
Okay, I take it back.
Really good.
I've seen them in Orlando. That was amazing. They put on a really good show.
Yeah, they're great at putting on a show. He came out like a priest.
There was so much confetti.
Yeah, like who has to clean all that up?
I don't know.
And we'll end on
And that's a wrap. No. No. Well, that's awesome. Well, I want to thank you all, Christina, Alex, Karsten, and Zack. Thank you for taking the time, and I wish you a lot of luck with the release of the new album. I got a chance to listen to it. I dig it, and hopefully you're able to tour. And yes, yes,
cool. What do you
yes.
Song.
God, you always got to put me on the spot. Yeah. I'm gonna of course choose the first single, Portrait of Genie. That's right one, right? So late in the album, but it's a good one. Yeah, no, I can't identify too many songs by name on the spot.
I don't know. Yeah, actually, me and Karsten still haven't. Yeah, we don't know the name of that.
Oh, really? What's your favorite song? Huh?
Nothing like what's on the album.
I noticed you play some songs that weren't on the album actually. So yeah. Let me just say I enjoy it. So, and I hope that you make it out to the West Coast and are able to play it live. That was the interview with Sandman Sleeps here on Concert Pipeline. And Jens, that takes us to the final segment on the program. What is it?
Well, Steve, it is time to talk about some music news, a portion at the end of our segment where we talk about what's going on in the music world today.
That's right. We each have a couple of stories. What's happening, exciting stuff. Jens, I'm going to let you take the first story this time.
All right. And of course, in traditional fashion, Steve likes to present me stories to present to all of you with people's names that I can't pronounce. So,
and they're always the same people, by the way. This is not
they're always the same people,
and it's also not people that are obscure in many cases, like this first story that you're going to be sharing. So I'm really interested to hear.
Yeah, I feel like I'm Steve on a bicycle, where I've got to remember that there's shifters on both sides, right, of the handlebars, because you learn it again and again and again, but then I don't know, you just forget. But I did remember how to pronounce this guy's name. So I'm talking about not Kanye West. I'm talking about Kanye West.
Boom, you got
Spot on, right? Didn't sound like an accident or anything?
No, only took 3 years, but it's cool. You got there.
Right. I'll probably screw it up next time. So Kanye, get this. Dude, it's like when it comes to vehicles, most people have, a car, or they've got 2 cars, right? They've got a family, 2 cars, maybe 3
Sometimes
cars.
You need that was the interview with Sandman Sleeps.
Yeah, you've got like the Kidmobile.
That takes us to the final segment on the program. What is it?
Porsche or whatever. Well, Steve, it is time to talk about some people have music news, a portion at the end of our segment where we talk about what's going on in the music world. Kanye apparently sold his luxury tank, which was featured on Closed on Sunday video.
Okay. Yes.
I guess that's a video.
Were you in the market for a tank, or were you in the bidding here for Kanye's tank?
You know what? When I read the headline on this, I just shook my head and I was like, "What? Who the hell would want a tank? What do you do with a tank? Where can you even drive a tank around?"
So I'll flash you back to last year or something when Kanye was working on his album and doing those stadium shows where he was playing the album and not even performing, but just playing, and stadium of people would show up. Do you remember what people sold on eBay from those shows?
I don't know. Kanye's air.
A bag of air. Yes,
Really?
a bag of air from the event, and it sold for what, at least $50 or something on eBay. A bag of air from the event.
My God! I can't believe I got that right, and I can't believe people did that. So he sold. Wait a minute. He sold bags of air, or just concert goers sold bags?
No, just concert goers. So
concert goers sold bags of air.
And so I think that people, because this tank is associated with Kanye, it probably is selling for a decent amount, right?
$500,000 is what it's worth. The military vehicle is worth $500,000. You know, and here I am. You know, I'm reading the caption of this article, thinking, "Oh my God, who does this, right? What does this tank look like?" And I'm just thinking of like the regular sort of, you know, military tank, all camouflaged with a big, huge gun on top of it that spins around. This thing is called a Ripsaw EV2 tank. I have no idea what that is, but here's a picture of it. And you know what? I want one of these. This looks like the fucking Batmobile. No shit, this looks like the Batmobile on, you know, in tank form.
Yeah, I mean, this looks pretty freaking epic. Yeah, so here I will share it here for those that are watching on YouTube. Here, let me photos.
It's the Batmobile.
There it is, right there. This thing is intense, right?
Isn't that thing cool? So I don't know. Is this a one-of-a-kind modified thing? Or is this like a kit that you buy and you build it at home? Or are there a hobbyists building these things?
Does it fit in a two-car garage? Or
yeah, I mean, I can't imagine a trailer big enough, you know, schlepping that thing to the outback. I mean, unless you live in Australia or the Middle East somewhere, you know, where do you drive these things around?
The thing is, it's like, the problem is that it doesn't seem to have any artillery, you know?
Yeah, I noticed. It took me a while to realize it doesn't look like it has a big, huge gun on the top, and that's fine. It's just, I mean, that thing looks cool.
Yeah. I imagine driving that through a drive-through, and
can you imagine driving that to the gas station? Like, oh, I gotta fill up. And you guys have diesel?
Oh my God!
I need like $10,000 of diesel.
It'd be insane. So
what is the gas mileage on that?
It doesn't say what he sold it for, does it?
No, it just says, it just says how much it's worth, and the article doesn't really talk about the tank at all. I think that's pretty amazing, that exists, and that anybody would actually, you know, buy it. You would think that it would be in some sort of Hollywood studio museum for cool things that have been in the movies.
Yeah, well, that's pretty
anyway.
I have a story for you, Jens.
What's your story?
This is a continuation of the ongoing story regarding Spotify, right?
Oh yeah, they're continuing to go down the tubes, huh?
Yeah, they've dropped like 10%, but I mean, they're still standing behind Joe Rogan, by the way. They don't think that anybody on their platform should be censored in that regard. So good on them for that regard, because whoever, you know, decides to pull their music, that shouldn't be a deterrent for the content that they're providing. But this story was interesting to me because it's about a band, Jens, that's going to release a 1,030-second song album. 1,000 song. An album of 1,000 that are all about 30 seconds to trick Spotify royalties payouts. This isn't directly tied to this because they, you know, support the artist's right to be able to put out what they want, right? But this rock band called the Pocket Gods, they decided to release a 1,000 track album with each of the songs clocking in at around 30 seconds. Why 30 seconds? Well, the current Spotify streaming model activates revenue from the stream of a song after 30 seconds of airing. So it doesn't matter if your song is epic ballad that's like 7 or 8 minutes, November Rain, you know, by Guns N' Roses, or
that 17-minute Bob Dylan song.
You're right. That shit is making just as much per stream as a 30-second song, which so this band was inspired by an article in the Independent where it suggested that Spotify's current methods could signal the end of the 3-minute pop song. And so the Pocket Gods frontman Mark Christopher said, I saw the article and it made me think, why write longer songs when we get paid little enough for just 30 seconds? So this band is from the UK, and they noted that you get paid approximately 0.002 pounds as a payment when a song streams. And that's down from it. I guess it used to be 0.007 pounds. And it's the same for 30 seconds. So they recorded 1,000 songs, each a shade over 30 seconds long for the album, to ways about the campaign for fair royalty rate. So they obviously want you to go through and listen to their full album so that they can make a penny and a half, right?
Right.
So it's an interesting story because
let me see if I understand this. So so because their songs are just long enough to get paid, they are capitalizing because they get more airtime, I guess.
Yeah, well, more bang out of their buck, so to speak, right? I mean, so they're banking obviously on this article and Concert Pipeline, to drive the awareness to
right.
By the way, good thoughts on banking on Concert Pipeline. So
exactly. Yeah. Well, that's what music news is all about, man.
Exactly. So I don't know. It's an interesting proposition. Obviously, they're not going to be making anything, relative, but it's a way to get their band's name out there. No one's going to listen to all 1,000 songs. Let's be real, right?
Right. I wonder if it's just one long song that they just, cut up into 30-second segments.
Yeah. So 1,000, that's 500 minutes of content, which is how many hours? 6. That's 8 hours, 8+ hours of an album. So
my God,
that's a lot of content. So
every 30 seconds could be a verse, like
you could
really slow. Like you have to listen to an hour just to get to the chorus.
Yeah, it could be. So I thought you'd find that interesting.
Yeah, it's innovative.
Yeah,
it's innovative.
You got one more story for us, Jens?
I do. Let's talk about The Who. You remember that band?
The Who?
Yes.
I'll see what's up to the band.
Not the band. Yes, the band.
Yes.
Who?
Okay. The Yes Who. Got it.
The Yes Who. Okay, so The Who, they announced some dates for their upcoming North American tour of 2022. Fingers crossed that there won't be another
it's funny
pandemic explosion.
Your head went to fingers crossed that there's not another pandemic and challenges with it actually happening. My head went to fingers crossed that they actually survive through the dates.
That too. Yep. That's always part. Yeah, you always got that.
Yeah, because these dates go through the end of the year, and there's a fairly decent chance that they will not.
Yeah. I mean, they're a blast from the past, and definitely have made their mark on the rock and roll world, and I'm sure have influenced many other bands, during that time, and new bands that formed after that. So their upcoming shows will once again pair Pete Townsend and Roger Daltrey with local symphonies. Oh, cool.
Ooh, that's always fun.
I like that. Yeah. So The Who will return to the road this April. Oh my God, that's like really close. For a US tour that lasts throughout summer and the fall.
Don't get too excited about the California dates being really close because those are a ways away. So
yeah. Well, I would love to tell you more about this story, but I'm not a Rolling Stone member. I can't log in.
Oh, you lose. So you need me to pick it up.
So if you could just continue with the details. Is there a set list or whatever, a concert tour dates?
Yeah, they're tour dates, and they I will tell you first so that they tried out the orchestra concept in 2019 on their Moving On tour, and they and so they're kind of revisiting that again, and yeah, in terms of their local date, they are going to be hitting the Bay Area at the Golden One Center in Sacramento on October 26th. So.
The Golden One Center, is that in the fairgrounds?
That's not the. So that's not.
Ooh. Is that the basketball stadium?
Yeah, that's a basketball where the Kings play, I guess, right?
Kings play. Okay, yeah.
Yeah. So that's a local date here, but Seattle, they will be there in October 22nd if you happen to be on a visit to your father in Seattle. So.
Yeah, I'll be visiting my dad, and I'll ask myself, who was I going to go see?
Yeah. I'm sure you're marking that on your calendar.
That was bad.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, probably not. I was never really a Who fan. I admire their talent, but yeah, music never really captured my interest.
Yeah, they're not one of the ones I would pay money to go see either. But yeah. And that takes us to the final story, which of course is about one man who is always marching to the beat of his own drum. Who is it?
Mr. Dave Grohl.
Yes. So this is a new one. And it's pretty exciting. The Foo Fighters. We know the Super Bowl is happening this weekend, and before the program, I was telling you, I'm going to be down in LA. Where the Super Bowl is happening, where the Rams are playing at their hometown stadium, which is just boggling, and so it's going to be pandemonium. Coincidentally, I'm going to be down there, supposing I make it into the city.
And I think this is hilarious, right? Because it is a total coincidence, like you said, and it's not because the Super Bowl and LA in general, are associated with some pretty big musical events.
Yeah. So there's
You're not
some
going
big.
For that.
No, I don't think I'm going to either of the events, but this one is pretty cool. The Foo Fighters are going to perform a VR concert after the Super Bowl on Sunday.
Oh, nice.
Yes.
Wait, what? Does that require like a headset?
Well, let me tell you. They're performing what's described as an immersive 180-degree VR concert on Facebook, now termed Meta, after the game this week. Dave Grohl has also said one of the songs the group will perform has never been played live before.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
Any ideas what that might be?
I don't know. I can't pull out what songs they haven't played live.
Yeah. I never know what a band, what's meant by that. Like, is it one of those songs that they just, an old song that they, is on an album and they never played it live? Or is it something, brand new material that they're going to surprise people?
There's probably, I'm sure their catalog is so expensive. I'm sure there's songs that they're just like, it's a great song, but maybe it's really complicated, or they just never have pulled it out on stage. So
maybe they keep on forgetting the lyrics.
Maybe, we'll see. But he said, the Foo Fighters love a challenge, from playing the biggest stages in the world to the tiniest clubs. I remember years ago when they played at Slim's in San Francisco. Like, and the tickets obviously went like that.
Yeah.
But that would have been really cool. To making movies, their new horror movie that's going to be coming out later this month, and miniseries. And so he said, we've pretty much done it all, but we've never collaborated with Mark Romanek on a conceptual set of songs for a worldwide audience. So they're going to cross that off the bucket list. And we'll see how that turns out. I don't think you need a headset. You just need to go on Foo Fighters Facebook, I guess, or something. So,
well, it's going to be interesting to see.
Yeah.
Good for them.
Check it out. So a new venture for the Foo Fighters.
Yeah. Does it, any idea if they're actually going to be down there, performing this, or is it all just?
I think it can be anywhere
in the world doing it.
Yeah, I don't know that it's.
What I want to know, Steve, is there going to be a Dave Grohl sighting in LA?
If there is, I should be there, right?
Yes, if there is, you need to freaking be there. take another picture with you and Dave. Put it next to your old picture.
Okay, we'll do that one. Yeah, I don't know. It doesn't say where it's located or tickets or anything along those lines. So it's probably just something they're doing isolated and then going to put out there. I don't know if it's live or whatnot, or I don't know. Well, I'll report back next week. How's that?
Report back. I mean, you know, if I were them, I probably wouldn't want to deal with LA traffic, and I would just, you know, hang out, do it at home in a studio or whatever, you know, beach someplace away.
I'm sure they can all be in their own homes. You know, it's like it could happen. So
yeah, like many of us have done. You know.
Yes.
Zoom that shit.
Yes. Let me tell you a little bit about what we have coming up on Concert Pipeline in the coming weeks, Jens. Next week, we have an artist named, we're heading overseas to the UK for the next couple of weeks.
All right.
And next week, I'm going to have an artist named John Smith. He's a singer-songwriter. And we had a really great chat. He performed a couple of songs. So that really excited to bring that, and you know, we'll roll those out over the week coming up to it too, so you can check out those performances. And then the following week I'm going to be interviewing Bonham Bullock, which is John Bonham, the drummer for Led Zeppelin, his sister's band. So her and her husband. So going to hear some stories, I'm sure, about Led Zeppelin and you know, and their music as well. So
well, that's good. That's definitely something to look forward to.
I agree. So Jens, that is our show for today. Do you want to let the audience know how they can get a hold of us, how they can find us out there?
Okay, I set myself up for that last time I did the pod. I should have done my research. Concert Pipeline is available via social media. Check us out at Facebook, YouTube. Don't ask me what the handles are. There's some other places.
You did great. Google Concert Pipeline, you'll find us. That was brilliant. I love it. Yes.
I'll have to go back 100 episodes. Last time I advertised that stuff.
It's been a minute,
See what it was.
I'm glad you're prepared. So
I don't want to give anyone any misinformation. I don't want to be Joe Rogan here and give out misinformation, right? So, you know, I better do my research before I, tell people how to find us.
We'll drop Jens's phone number, and you can just reach out to him if you need help finding it. He'll get you there in the next couple of years. And
I've got this feature called Silence Unknown Callers. I'll have no idea.
Good times. Well, that's our show. For all of us here at Concert Pipeline, that's Jens Schippel.
And that is Steve Jones.
We'll catch you next time.